for the police because the likelihood of somebody being out in the middle of that is less, and when it's a big wide street, there's more room for error if he starts losing control or starts driving more erratically than he has.
I'm noticing, Mark, that night sun is off again, and those units, as we pulled out there, you saw those units pulling back maybe about a block away at most, but I wonder if that watch commander has put this back into tracking mode, which is what we've been discussing here. I think that might be the case, as we now see a little bit less pressure applied. He's not being chased at a close distance, although surely he's aware of their presence, obviously. Just a quick look in the rearview mirror and he knows what he's up against here. But that helicopter's turned off the night sun, and I believe we'll know for sure if we see those front sirens turned off. You know, even when it's in tracking mode, you'll see the sirens at the rear of those patrol cars, but those front sirens will be off. So if he looks in the rearview mirror, he may see the black and whites, but he won't see the flashing lights, potentially, if that is the case. Now turning on to Nordhoff Street, and it looks like they're still flashing pretty good, but you see them giving him a wide berth here as he makes his way now through Chatsworth. Copy. ICOM. So we're still on Nordhoff, and what you've noticed here, he's coming up on Corbin Avenue, making a right turn there, and he's making these wide right turns for no apparent reason. That wasn't even exceptionally fast, but a wide right, still in purview of LAPD here. But you saw as they pulled back once again, just like we saw earlier when we first joined you with this pursuit, he pushed it. He started going much faster. Normally, when they pull back and they give them a little bit of breathing room, typically we see the drivers kind of slow down a little bit. Their behavior starts to normalize somewhat gradually. But in this case, he starts to, I don't know if he thinks he's got an opportunity when he sees the lights go off, that he thinks he can outrun them. You see him now going much faster. Not quite extreme speeds, but just over the speed limit. Fortunately, as we've been saying, not a whole lot of traffic out here in the valley on a Tuesday night, but continuing southbound on Corbin into oncoming lanes of traffic now for no reason. Well, I guess he has that car there, but really no reason at all to go into oncoming lanes there. Did he see some spike strips possibly? Yeah, some spike strips on the corner there, and he goes in the opposite direction. So there were some spike strips on the northwest corner. He made a southbound turn, or actually a eastbound turn onto Roscoe. He is now going back east on Roscoe, which, by the way, Mark, is exactly where he came from. We first started on Roscoe, eventually onto Louise, down to Saticoy. Now he took Saticoy back well, we've weaved our way through the valley, essentially ending back over on Roscoe and Tampa Avenue. If he continues eastbound, that'll take him right past Van Nuys Airport, which was quite convenient for us as we were getting ready to take off and follow this pursuit. We saw him the minute we lifted off from our hangar. You can see flashing lights zooming right past the Van Nuys runway on Roscoe, heading west. Now we're going east, again in the opposite direction, And one has to wonder, considering that by my estimation, I believe it's LAPD's Foothill Division that initiated the pursuit. Now that would be the northeast corner of the valley. Think of neighborhoods like Pacoima, Artesia, that area. That may be where he wants to end up. He may weave his way back into an area where he's more familiar with, if that is indeed the case. No guarantees that's where it'll end, but if history is any indication, it's a good possibility he may take us right back to that general part of the valley. In any event, continuing eastbound on Roscoe Boulevard through Northridge here, and in another few lights, he will pass Van Nuys Airport, Mark.
Much longer. I mean, it can't be getting that. He does this, you know, the best thing that can happen for this person is that he ends up getting arrested.
Right.
You know, that's the best thing that can happen. The worst is that he causes an accident or gets in an accident or some sort of a use of force situation by the LAPD. But he can kind of dictate what happens. He's in charge, really, of how this all goes as he runs a red light. That's one of several that we've been witnessing.
Yep.
The LAPD is responding as best they can, although I want to point out we do have video from earlier of a spike strip that they deployed not far from here where they tried to get him a little while ago. You're looking at on the right side of your screen there, but he saw it coming and made a quick left turn down an alley. There has since been at least one other attempt a couple of minutes ago where that one also apparently failed. So all four tires are still fully inflated. Although it looks like every time he makes a right turn in particular, his right rear tire spins and starts to smoke.
Yeah, I almost wonder if he's maintaining control through some of those turns. He is back on, he's on, look at this. Okay, so he sees some traffic up ahead, and that's when he crosses over the double yellow lines through this red light again. We're going to hold back here as some traffic lands at Van Nuys Airport. What I was about to say was that the challenging part for LAPD is that because it's a cold-plated vehicle, which essentially means that the license plate does not match the vehicle description that they're looking at here, they do not know much about the suspect. They are working in the blind, not exactly sure who or what they are dealing with inside that truck. Is he armed? They have no idea. Is he wanted for a violent crime, or is this something more of a misdemeanor that he's afraid of getting caught with, or is he just you know, out for a joyride, or maybe he's out on parole or something like that? We just don't know. And again, is he under the influence? So many possibilities. But they you know, when they have a cold-plated vehicle, they lack the intelligence to prepare for some of those alternate endings. So they have to be ready for anything, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to follow this through, and I don't think they're going to let him go. I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think they're going to let him go here. You saw him there for a moment, just about 60 or 90 seconds ago, doing about 80 miles per hour on Roscoe, so at least double the speed limit as he saw a straightaway there. And now we are on the east side of the airport, coming up on the 405. Now that'll be another thing. If he decides for some reason to get onto the freeway, that's always the preferable place to continue a pursuit for law enforcement, because it's just much safer, especially at this time of the night. So we'll see if he decides as he passes the Bud plant here, he's going to come up on the 405, under the 405, no signs of getting on the freeway, and he stays committed to Roscoe. So no freeway for him, at least yet. He does have an opportunity still technically if he made a left turn there, but he's continuing under the 405 and now coming out the east side of the freeway. So I was hoping maybe, and I'm sure they were hoping, that he would turn onto the freeway, but instead we are now on a little bit of a busier section as we're so close to the freeway here, coming up on Sepulveda, where traffic is just a little bit more moderate, and he's actually in the turn lane, so Is he going to just go around this traffic or make a turn onto Sepulveda? Looks like a left turn, northbound Sepulveda, heading into North Hills.
All right, northbound Sepulveda. It's a commercial area. It is a commercial / industrial, it would appear. Not a lot of business. There's businesses there, but most of them closed. And that's good news, although he's running a lot of red lights. He doesn't seem to be slowing down too much. At 53 miles an hour, going through a red light at that speed, very, very dangerous, even at this time of night. Yeah, there's not a lot of traffic, but there is some. We are seeing other vehicles out there. He's gone through some cross traffic. There's cars there as he goes through another red light, and it looks like he's speeding up too. We're on Sepulveda, northbound at Parthenia, North Hills. This pursuit continuing. The LAPD has initiated it to begin with, and they have been the agency on it throughout. They are behind him now at some distance, little more than a block or so, hoping he'll slow down. He does, and then he speeds back up. Not exactly in tracking mode, although it looks like the night sun is not on him. Is that correct?
So the night sun is off. This is now clearly, by my estimation, now in tracking mode. But there is some discussion about just terminating the pursuit. So they've done the calculus. Maybe they know more than we do. And maybe they have other means of catching up with them later. But that is at least under discussion as we continue north on Sepulveda Boulevard here. So I didn't think they would let him go, especially considering, you know, that there's not a whole lot of people in danger here. But anybody's in danger, of course, as you have somebody driving so erratically, especially speeding through those red lights. And I guess they may have, they have just given the go-ahead to terminate the pursuit, even as he blows through yet another red light at Sepulveda and Plummer. So they are going to terminate the pursuit, Mark, but that does not mean that the helicopter is going to go home. The helicopter, I believe, will probably stick with it a little bit more unless there is other business in the city to tend to. That airship has the ability to follow him home or wherever he ends up, and then they could, again, catch up with him at a later point in time. But for now, they have terminated this pursuit, and he does appear to have somewhat slowed down to a more reasonable speed, though still doing about 60 miles per hour on Sepulveda.
Okay, so if they've terminated the pursuit, any number of factors, I assume, could have gone into that. Number one, of course, being safety. Number two could be just the allocation of resources. There might be other things going on. There's four. They may have decided that this crime, whatever they know that this person has done, is not worth committing the resources that they have thus far to it. They don't know what else he may have been involved with, but they have no way of knowing until they catch him, and there's other things they need to get to.
Yeah, he's still going really fast, but as we widened out there for a second, you can see there's no ground units anywhere near him, at least that are visible by my eye. And so it is pure the chopper. I want to confirm, is he still overhead there, Chris? He is. So the airship is continuing to track, but those ground units have pulled away as we make our way now under the 118 freeway. So he's continuing north through the valley, and sure enough, if he continues in this direction, Mark, my suspicion will have been correct, and he will end up back in LAPD's Foothill Division, now coming up on Mission Hills, continuing on Sepulveda, doing above the speed limit. He is somewhat composed and not quite as stressed as he was earlier when those units were right behind him. So that airship likely will take this to the end. We could continue along with him here, but barring any other dangerous moves here, it may just turn out to be another one that got away.
Yeah, maybe he got away, but you know, if as long as the airship's over, yeah, temporarily, as you are correct in pointing out, because the airship's overhead and they can follow him, and if he pulls over and stops somewhere, they can of course direct. Whoa, that was close. They can direct.
Another red light.
They can direct traffic or direct units to his position. But we need to point out, he has blown through just in this last 3 or 4 minute span. He's blown
three in a row, now getting on the freeway. Yeah.
Right. He's blown through a number of red lights. Now he's getting on the 405. Which direction is he getting on?
Northbound 405. Northbound 405, which is going to end here and will put him in about a mile onto the 5 freeway, which has about 3 to 4 miles of valley left before he ends up in the Newhall Pass. And so my suspicion, again, these are just educated guesses, is that he will likely take this into the Sylmar area or somewhere thereabouts and get off the freeway at one of these exits. But right now, continuing northbound 405, making our way into Sylmar, coming up on the 5 freeway now. And I think that overpass will, yeah, that'll now put him on the 5. Again, nobody behind him, just the airship overhead is going to follow these last few moments of this pursuit.
All right, and so the question becomes, would the CHP become involved here if this was basically, I don't know if this is what you'd call an infraction or a misdemeanor that occurred in LAPD's territory. Would CHP get involved in this if no LAPD units are pursuing?
CHP will certainly be notified. They'll be given the option, and then they will decide based on their resources whether they want to give it a shot. What's so interesting about this is that if he continues, look at him, he's signaling to get off of the 5 freeway, as I predicted. But the funny part about that is that if he would have continued northbound on the 5 freeway, that would have taken him into the Santa Clarita Valley, out of LAPD's jurisdiction, and even the helicopter probably would have turned around, and he probably would have, he probably would be done. But he is now off the freeway, in the San Fernando Valley still, and he is still in LAPD's jurisdiction, giving that airship reason to continue following him. So it's interesting when you think about it, but if he would have stayed on the freeway, he probably would have gotten away, left LAPD's jurisdiction and taken himself into Santa Clarita Valley, but instead he's now off the freeway, back into LAPD's Foothill Division, right where this all started earlier this evening, about an hour ago, and that airship still hovering overhead.
He has stopped at a red light, which we, I guess, should maybe congratulate him for. I don't know. Or is it a red light? Maybe, because it looks like it's red in the other direction. I can't tell.
Looks like it's red. He's at a red. Okay. There's a green light allowing that traffic onto the southbound 405. He's in the right lane, on the northernmost lane of Roxford Street. And we'll see he basically is fixing to go north on Sepulveda if he goes straight. He could either go north on Sepulveda, or he could pull in front of all of those 2 white cars and end up back on the freeway. But I don't think he's going to do that. He looks like he's on the path towards Sepulveda. There's no right turn he can make here. He's just waiting for the light to turn, and we'll see what he does here. Crawling through the intersection and going with the traffic. And now CHP is right behind him. So CHP was offered the pursuit, and they've decided to check this guy out. And now he is now entering their jurisdiction. So CHP is going to have some fun with this, if you will, and see what this guy is up to. He's now southbound 405. They've got a couple of patrol cars ready to engage if the go-ahead is given, and they have a wide open, empty freeway to either put this into a pursuit mode once again, or just track his movements and follow him to his final destination. So not what you would have thought, and in fact I'm a little bit surprised that CHP took the bait, but hey, why not? If they've got the resources, and this guy's running through these red lights, why in the world not? So he now has 3 CHP units southbound, and it looks like he's taking the 405. Southbound 405, Mark.
All right. Well, you know what? When they know about a crime, they have a duty to investigate,
sure
and that is what's at play here. And you never know. You never know what you're facing. You don't know necessarily why the wrong plates are on that vehicle. It could be a misdemeanor, but it could be used to cover up a felony as an attempt to evade detection on something that this person has done that would be much, much, much more serious. We don't know.
That's exactly.
Neither do the police.
Wow, look at that. Was that? Yeah.
Okay, he just got off.
So he got off. The 2 continued, but he still has, that's
He's
still
got
a black
one
and white
behind
behind him, right, Rob? Yeah. One CHP unit right behind him as he gets off at Rinaldi. And that's interesting. That's really interesting. Well, you're so right, Mark. You know, it could be a very minor crime, or it could be a very, very serious crime. We just don't know. And so that's reason enough to follow this through, especially considering that they have the available resources to do so. So here you have at least one CHP unit. If we widen that a little bit, is there anybody else, Rob, behind him? Just the one. So that's interesting. Just the one black and white behind him. And the LAPD airship overhead, now westbound on Rinaldi.
Right, and we should point out the CHP unit is not in pursuit mode here. You don't see any red lights. You don't see or any indication that he has lit up this car. He's just following behind him, and right now he's on surface streets, which is not his area of operation. So if
My
he does,
hunch,
go ahead.
So here's what we're looking at here. If he continues driving within the speed limit, within the parameters of the law, and stops going through these red lights, without any backup, it is less likely that that CHP unit will engage in a pursuit by himself. However, if he starts to blow through these red lights unnecessarily, that will change the equation. So that primary unit right there has not seen him break any laws that we know of just yet. At least for the last several minutes, he's been somewhat behaved ever since he got onto the 405. And now he is off back into LAPD's jurisdiction in their Mission Hills division. And he's actually going relatively slow, whether that's because he sees that CHP unit behind him or he's just more composed is anybody's guess. But he's now doing about the speed limit, westbound Rinaldi. And if that continues, I would venture to say that that CHP unit will likely let him go. But, you know, it's anybody's guess because one wrong move and all of a sudden, is there more pulling in? He made a turn, so he let him go. Yeah, he let him go. He followed him off the freeway. Again, those CHP units are primarily responsible for state roads and interstate highways. And so he's going to head back towards the freeway. The airship is still overhead, and a different unit is now a ways back. Is that, we don't know if it's CHP or LAP. It's the same guy? Okay, so that CHP unit pulled way back,
All right,
but still continuing in his direction. But you see that truck now about 2 or 3 blocks ahead of him. LAPD still overhead, and now the driver really just cruising down Rinaldi Street.
all right. So our coverage will end here. It appears the law enforcement has lost interest in this pursuit, and it is no longer a threat to the public, it would appear, because he has slowed down. Our coverage will end now. We thank you very much for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow night on ABC 7. Good night.
Tires locking up, or maybe the engine's heating up. Like you guys said, it looks like I got 300K on that motherfucker. Are they out of here? Ah, Jesus. Why does that keep turning the fuck on? Turn off. Ah. Hold on. I gotta go under Restream, guys, and turn that off. Thank you, Christina. Thank you for the happy birthday wish. I apologize. Let me turn this off, too. This is like the 3rd time now. It's fucking ridiculous. Go there. Go there. There. Okay. So it should be on. What? Now they're gone too. Everybody's gone. Everybody gone. Gone, 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 gone. Everybody gone, 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 gone. Oh, you got caught by the train. Not the train. Well, it looks like everybody's out, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to tell you, it's 11:58. They gave you way more than they would have. The LAPD decided to just say goodbye, right? Chippies were like, well, he's all off the freeway now, and it really was their chase. So, yeah, I'm looking, all the 7's gone, 4's gone, 5's gone.